as the darkness covered the land. A terrible cry echoed through the burning air. "Please, have mercy on me." The voice was desperate. A man lifted his head from the flames surrounding him, his face twisted in pain. Just one drop of water. His throat burned like fire. His tongue was dry as dust. Through the heat and smoke, he looked far away. And suddenly he saw something that shocked him. Across a great distance, beyond a deep divide, sat an old man surrounded by peace. Beside that man rested someone familiar, someone he remembered clearly. A beggar. The same poor man who used to lie at his gate every day, the same man he ignored for years. Now that beggar looked peaceful, comforted, safe. The rich man screamed across the great distance, "Father Abraham, please, send Lazarus to bring me water." But the answer he received would change everything forever. This is the story of two men. One had everything on earth. The other had nothing. But in eternity, their lives were completely reversed. What happened next shocked heaven and terrified hell. But before we continue this powerful story, take a moment to subscribe to this channel and comment "Amen" and like this video if you believe God sees the suffering of the poor. Share it to your family and friends. Now, let us continue the story. Long ago in the land of Judea there stood a busy and prosperous city. Merchants filled the streets. Spices from distant lands filled the markets with strong, sweet smells. Traders shouted as they sold cloth, jewelry, grain, and animals. Travelers from different lands passed through the gates each day. Some were poor, some were wealthy. But one man stood above them all in riches. He was known throughout the city simply as the rich man. No one spoke his name without respect, because he was extremely wealthy. His house stood near the center of the city. Tall stone walls surrounded it. Large wooden gates guarded the entrance. Inside the walls were beautiful gardens filled with palm trees and flowers. Servants moved constantly through the courtyard. Some carried baskets of fruit. Others poured wine. Others cleaned the marble floors. The rich man loved luxury. Every morning, servants dressed him in expensive clothing. His robes were made of purple cloth, a color so rare that only the wealthiest people could afford it. Under the robe, he wore soft white linen. His sandals were made from the finest leather. Gold rings decorated his fingers. When he walked through the streets, people stepped aside. They bowed their heads as he passed. The rich man enjoyed this attention. He believed wealth meant he was blessed above others, and he never questioned the life he lived. The rich man's house was famous for its feasts. Every evening, torches lit the courtyard. Music filled the air. Servants prepared large tables covered with food, roasted lamb, fresh bread, honey cakes, sweet figs, olives, and rich wine. Important guests came to eat with him. Merchants, officials, wealthy landowners. They laughed loudly as they ate. They told stories. They boasted about their success. The rich man loved these nights. They made him feel powerful. They made him feel important. Yet outside his great gate, another life existed. A life very different from the rich man's. Every morning, the large wooden gates opened. Servants entered and left carrying supplies. But lying beside the gate was a man few people cared about. His name was Lazarus. Lazarus was extremely poor. His clothes were torn and dirty. His body was weak. Painful sores covered his skin. He could barely walk. Most days, someone carried him to the gate and left him there. Why this gate? Because the rich man's house always had extra food. After the feasts, servants often threw away leftovers. Lazarus hoped someone might give him scraps. Just a small piece of bread. Just a crumb. But most days, nothing came. Instead, street dogs wandered near him. They sniffed his wounds. Sometimes they licked the sores on his skin. People passing through the gate looked at him with disgust. Some ignored him. Some stepped around him. but none helped. And the rich man? He saw Lazarus many times. Every day when he entered or left his house, their eyes met more than once. But the rich man always looked away. To him, Lazarus was just another beggar, another poor man in the street, someone unimportant, someone invisible. Inside the gate there was laughter. Outside the gate there was suffering. Inside the gate there were feasts. Outside the gate there was hunger. Inside the gate there were soft beds. Outside the gate there was cold stone ground. Yet Lazarus held something the rich man did not: faith. Every night after the city became quiet, Lazarus looked toward the sky. The stars shone above him, and he prayed softly, "Lord, you see me. Lord, you know my pain. I trust you," even when his body hurt, even when his stomach was empty, even when people ignored him. Lazarus believed God had not forgotten him.
Wealth, comfort,
And heaven heard his prayers. Days turned into months. Months turned into years. The rich man continued living in luxury. He never lacked food.
Onward, my friend.
He never lacked comfort.
Yes, lean on.
Servants met his every need. But Lazarus continued lying at the gate. His body grew weaker. His sores worsened. Still he prayed. Still he trusted God. And though people ignored him, God never did. One morning, the city woke as usual. Merchants opened their shops. Travelers entered the gates. Servants moved through the streets. But Lazarus did not move. The poor man who usually lay beside the rich man's gate was completely still. People passed him. Some barely noticed. Hours passed. Finally, someone looked closer. Lazarus had died. His suffering was over. There was no funeral, no music, no crowd. Just another poor man gone. But something incredible happened that no one on earth could see. Suddenly, the sky filled with light. Angels appeared. They gently lifted Lazarus, and they carried him away to a place of peace, a place called Abraham's side. There, Lazarus felt something he had never known on earth: comfort, peace, rest. The man who once starved at the gate now rested in glory. After the death of Lazarus, life in the city continued as if nothing had happened. The market still opened every morning. Merchants still shouted about their goods. Travelers still passed through the gates. And inside the large mansion, the rich man continued living the same life he always had. More feasts, more music, more laughter. The memory of the poor beggar at his gate quickly disappeared. To the rich man, Lazarus had only been a small, unpleasant part of the street outside his house. Now that Lazarus was gone, the entrance looked cleaner, more pleasant. The rich man felt no sadness. He did not even think about him, but time never stops. Days became months. Months became years. And slowly, something began to change. The rich man was no longer young. His black hair slowly turned gray. The strong voice that once filled his halls grew quieter. His steps became slower, but his love for luxury never changed. Every evening he still ordered great meals: roasted lamb, fresh bread, sweet fruits. Wine poured into shining cups. Guests still filled his halls. They laughed loudly. They praised his wealth. They admired his house. But something inside the rich man had become empty. Though he had everything money could buy, he never found peace. Sometimes, late at night when the guests had gone and the torches burned low, he walked through the silent halls of his house. The rooms were large. The walls were beautiful. Yet the silence felt strange. He pushed the feeling away. Instead, he planned another feast, another celebration, another night of pleasure. He believed happiness could always be bought, but the day was coming when money would mean nothing. One evening, the rich man prepared the greatest feast he had ever hosted. Servants rushed through the house all day. Huge tables were arranged in the courtyard. Torches were placed along the stone walls. Musicians arrived with drums and string instruments. The smell of roasted meat filled the air. Guests arrived wearing fine clothing, wealthy merchants, important leaders, powerful landowners. Everyone admired the rich man's generosity. Wine flowed like water. Laughter filled the night. The rich man sat proudly at the head of the table. He raised his cup and smiled. "My friends," he said loudly, "tonight we celebrate life." Cheers rose around the table, but as the music played and people laughed, something unexpected happened. The rich man suddenly felt a sharp pain in his chest. His smile faded. He placed his hand over his heart. The pain grew stronger. At first he tried to ignore it, but the pain spread through his body. His breathing became difficult. Guests noticed something was wrong. "Are you all right?" one of them asked. The rich man tried to answer, but no words came. His cup fell from his hand. It crashed onto the stone floor. The music stopped. The courtyard fell silent. Then the rich man collapsed. Servants rushed toward him. Guests stood in shock, but there was nothing anyone could do. The richest man in the city was dead. The news spread quickly across the city. "The rich man has died." People spoke about it everywhere, in the market, in the streets, in their homes. Because he had been powerful and wealthy, his funeral was large and impressive. Many people attended. Musicians played slow, sad music. Professional mourners cried loudly. Servants carried expensive spices and perfumes. His body was wrapped in fine cloth. A large stone tomb was prepared for him. Important men spoke about his success. They praised his wealth. They spoke about his great house, about his feasts, about his influence.